If you only had 2 weeks to study for the TOEFL IBT exam, and I mean that's 2 weeks until your test day, and you can only pick one TOEFL prep book, which TOEFL prep book should you choose? Let's find out in this video. Hey, it's Chucky here from SojourningScholar.com. To help you find the best TOEFL prep book, we've purchased and spent several weeks thoroughly reviewing over a dozen TOEFL IBT prep books on the market. And in this video, I'm going to break down what some of these books have to offer and why they may or may not work for your TOEFL prep needs. This way, you can find the best TOEFL prep book that you must have if you want to conquer your TOEFL IBT exam. Now, you can check the prices of the TOEFL books we recommend using the links in the description section below. For a full disclosure, these are affiliate links, so if you buy a book using these links, we may receive a small commission at no additional cost to you. So thank you, and now let's get on to the video. In order to select the best TOEFL prep book, we rated each book based on key factors that would help you get a high score on the TOEFL IBT exam. The most important is the test taking strategy, where we assess how effective the strategies in the book are at tackling each section of the TOEFL IBT. The second important factor are the practice questions and the practice test experience. And here we analyze how similar the practice questions are to the real TOEFL IBT, as well as how taking an online practice test from the book compares to the real TOEFL IBT experience. Finally is engagement and relevance. And on the criteria of engagement, we rated how engaging the content in each TOEFL prep book will be to a wide audience of readers with different levels of English language proficiency. And in terms of relevance, given that the TOEFL IBT was modified in 2019, we chose books that have been updated accordingly. So given these factors, the top 3 TOEFL prep books we recommend are the Barron's TOEFL IBT, the Official Guide to the TOEFL IBT by ETS, and the TOEFL IBT Prep Plus by Kaplan. Now, starting with the Barron's TOEFL IBT with 8 online practice tests, the 17th edition. Some features of this book are you get access to an online resource after registering a new version of the book. This online resource contains helpful learning materials that supplement the book, as well as the audio recordings that you're going to need for the listening, the speaking, and the writing chapters and practice questions that come with the book. As you can tell by the title of the book, there are 8 full-length practice tests, and if you have access to the online resource mentioned earlier, you would find on-screen versions of the same practice tests that are printed in the book. These practice tests can be taken online in a practice mode or in a test mode. In addition, you get 8 short-length practice tests that you can find printed in the book and not in the online resource. These 8 short-length practice tests found in the book are designed to be completed in an hour. Now, what I like the most about this book is the fine balance between test-taking strategies and skill building. Compared to other TOEFL prep books on the market, this book does a really great job of teaching the most effective test-taking strategies and skills that you're going to need to master if you really want to ace your TOEFL IBT exam. And when it comes to the practice tests in this book, you will find the online practice test environment to be quite similar to what you can see on the real TOEFL IBT exam. Now, one cool feature I really liked about the book is that in the online practice test, when taking the speaking section, your responses are automatically recorded and downloaded on your computer, which means that you're not going to need to use an external recording device. This makes it very easy for you to review your spoken responses at the end of the test. Now, when comparing the difficulty of the practice questions in this book to those found on the real TOEFL IBT exam, I found that the questions on the reading section were slightly easier than those you can find on the real TOEFL exam. In addition, I also found that some of the tasks on the speaking section do not always follow the format of the real TOEFL IBT. So readers of this book should consider supplementing the book with authentic TOEFL practice questions that you can find from ETS. Nevertheless, if you're looking for the best book for test-taking strategies and skill building for all sections of the TOEFL IBT, then this is the book for you. The next book is the Official Guide to the TOEFL IBT Test from ETS. The book comes with 4 full-length practice tests, and if you purchase a new version of the book, you would find an access code to the digital resource that supplements this book. This digital resource includes the same 4 full-length practice tests printed in the book, allowing you to take a realistic version of the TOEFL IBT exam using your computer. This digital resource also includes the audio recordings for the listening, the speaking, and the writing chapters of the book and practice questions. Now, the biggest selling point of this book is that this is one of the few TOEFL prep books on the market that's made by the makers of the TOEFL exam, and I'm talking about ETS. And as you might expect from a book published by the makers of the TOEFL IBT, this book does a great job of explaining the structure of the TOEFL IBT exam for a complete beginner. Now, when it comes to the practice questions you will find in this book, these questions come from actual TOEFL IBT exams that have been administered in the past. So you will be rest assured practicing with authentic TOEFL questions that are quite similar to what you might find on your TOEFL IBT exam. Now, apart from the authenticity of the practice questions that this book is known to offer, what I like the most about this book are the detailed explanations of the types of questions that you can find on the reading and the listening sections. In addition, I also like that the book provides authentic sample responses for the speaking and the writing sections that come from actual TOEFL IBT test takers. And even better, each of these responses are graded by an actual ETS grader as high-level responses, mid-level responses, and low-level responses. Now, while this book does a great job of explaining the structure and the types of questions that appear on the TOEFL IBT, I found that there's not enough focus on test-taking strategies for each of the different sections of the TOEFL IBT. The lack of test-taking strategies is very glaring on the speaking section of the book, and given that most TOEFL test takers struggle with the speaking section, you would expect the book from ETS to focus more on the test-taking strategies for the difficult sections of the TOEFL, like the speaking and the writing sections. Another con of this book is that the digital resource that accompanies the book requires a software installation on a computer compared to those from other major publishers that are easily accessible online. So overall, I would say this book is best for people looking for authentic practice questions and not necessarily for TOEFL IBT test-taking strategies. Next is the TOEFL IBT Prep Plus from Kaplan. A new purchase of this book gives you access to an online resource where you would find 4 full-length practice tests. You would also find audio CDs containing tracks for the listening, speaking, and writing sections. Now, unlike most other TOEFL books on the market, this book includes a high score promise or money-back guarantee. However, this promise is only for buyers of the book residing in the US. What I like the most about this book is the online practice test environment. When it comes to the test experience, there is no other online practice test that mimics the real TOEFL IBT experience like this book. In addition, the difficulty of the practice questions are quite similar to those on the real TOEFL IBT. I also like the smart reports that's given at the end of each practice test. With these reports, you can easily understand the types of questions where you're strong at and the types of questions where you're weak at, which will allow you to fine-tune your TOEFL prep effectively. Now, the major con I found with this book is that overall, the content of the book is presented poorly. As a result, many English as a second language readers will find the content of this book quite disengaging. Another con is that no practice tests are printed in the book, which makes it impossible to take a practice test offline. Also, the learning material in the online resource contains outdated information about the structure of the TOEFL IBT exam and mostly repeats what's already printed in the book, which makes the learning materials in the online resource a poor supplement to the book. In my opinion, this book is best for test takers who really want a user experience that's very similar to that you can find on the real TOEFL IBT exam. Now, if you want to learn more about the top TOEFL books we recommend, you can find single review videos to each of these books in the description section below. Some other good TOEFL prep books that are worth mentioning are the TOEFL IBT Prep from Princeton Review and the Cambridge Preparation for the TOEFL Test. Now, the TOEFL IBT Prep from Princeton Review would be a strong choice if it had more practice tests that are not only available in print, but also available online. In this book, you would find unique strategies for each section of the TOEFL IBT exam, and the book does a good job of showing readers how to implement these strategies. And if you're someone who struggles with the speaking and the writing section of the TOEFL, you would find the templates for these sections in the book very helpful. These templates will help you easily craft your response for the independent and the integrated tasks of the speaking and the writing section. And when it comes to the Cambridge Preparation for the TOEFL test, with up to 7 practice tests and detailed explanations on the different sections of the TOEFL IBT exam, I found that the book is just as comprehensive as the Barron TOEFL IBT prep book. Now, why this book falls short on our list is that this book was last published in 2014 and needs to be updated for the modified version of the TOEFL IBT exam that took place in 2019. But nevertheless, the tips in this book are quite good, and it very well could be a strong contender if a new edition is published with updated content for the TOEFL IBT exam. Now, some other books you might need to supplement your TOEFL prep include The Essential Words for the TOEFL from Barron, as well as the official TOEFL IBT test, Volume 1 and Volume 2 from the makers of the TOEFL IBT exam. Now, the Barron's Essential Words is a short guide for learning the most common words that tend to appear on the TOEFL. This book teaches the definition of these words and also provides examples of how these words can be used in context. So, if you're looking to build your vocabulary for the reading and the writing section of the test, then this will be a good supplement. But if you're looking to improve your pronunciations for the speaking section, you might want to consider other resources. Now, for the official TOEFL IBT test, Volume 1 and Volume 2, each of these books contain 5 full-length practice tests that have actually appeared on previous TOEFL exams. And similar to the official guide that was discussed earlier, each of these books include an access code to the digital resource you would need to get the on-screen version of the practice tests. So if you're looking to supercharge your TOEFL prep, then you should highly consider one of these books. Now, for the million-dollar question, if I only had 2 weeks to prep for the TOEFL IBT exam and I could only pick one TOEFL prep book amongst all the books mentioned in this video, then without a doubt, I'm going to go for the Barron's TOEFL IBT prep book, simply because of the quality of the test-taking strategies in the book. However, if I had more time to prep for the TOEFL and I could build my ultimate stack, then I'm going to supplement the Barron's TOEFL IBT book with a choice of the official TOEFL IBT test Volume 1 or Volume 2. Thanks for watching and best of luck on your TOEFL exam.